Hello, so this message is for the Aquarius Pisces collective. So all placements, it really doesn't matter. If it resonates, okay? So starting out in the pre-shuffle, I got the Queen of Spirals and the King of Spirals, which in this deck come out as the Muse and the Companion, but they're actually the King and Queen of Wands. And so these could be archetypes that are established for you as a signifier with your guides, or this could also be representative of the characteristics and energy that you're stepping into. So for you guys, actually, I had a song that came through the last 24 hours. I heard the song by Alanis Morissette a couple times, and before that, I hadn't heard the song in, I don't know, several years, and so it felt significant, and then I was hearing it really loud today in my mind. And so it's You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette, and she references the parts that felt most important. She references the cross that she was forced to bear, and she also spoke on, it was some kind of like false or broken promise where somebody had promised to be there for life, and she was like, but you're still alive, meaning you abandoned me, but you're still alive. So she was like, I'm here to remind you. And so there's something about that. I split the deck and we got the Watcher, the Queen of Mirrors, and so there's another queen involved here. Or this could be just a really emotional, love-based situation, because another thing that came through, so I just did a collective reading on my other channel, Emerald Cosmic. And while I was channeling a message about being brave enough to speak your truth, regardless of what kind of disagreement or conflict comes your way as a result, because we're here to impact not just ourselves, but the generations to come, essentially. And I was also talking about certain fears not being real. The tiger came through and signifying about frequencies that we can't perceive in this reality, but they're still able to affect us, either to harm us or to heal us. And I remember in the last reading, or it was one of the last readings I did for the Aquafish Collective, there was that signifying energy. The story came through where the walls of Jericho were able to fall because the soldiers that marched around the walls, the people that marched around the walls for 7 days in a row, they blew into the horns of the ram horns and the walls fell. And that was supposed to be a testimony of following God's instructions with blind obedience, even if it doesn't always make sense. And to me, when I read that story, I have to wonder how much sound healing was involved, how much sound frequencies came into play with the destruction of that wall. Not to say that it wasn't a miraculous act of God. I believe that all praise and glory goes to the Most High. But I also feel that God doesn't operate on magic alone, that sometimes math is involved, sometimes there's what we would call or reference as science, but it's almost like an unknown science, something that is beyond the science of man. And we would reference it as magic, but there is like a intricate design is what I'm hearing that goes into these happenings, right? And sometimes it goes beyond what we can comprehend as an initial reflection of the story, and that sometimes, man is limited in creating division through taking some of these stories as literal firsthand encounters, and that's something that's coming through. So, oh look, I split the deck, and look guys, it says 10 of Scrolls. There's the tiger right there. So it's just confirmation. We got the King of Scrolls in reverse. Interesting. The King of Swords is showing up. We got almost all the kings here. Who's missing? The King of Stones. So he's the poet, and he's afraid to write. He's afraid to express himself. So anyways, as I was saying, I was talking about all that, and the amber in the bee necklace that I always wear just popped off. It just came off randomly and sporadically. It's missing. I don't know. It fell into the carpet somewhere. I've got to look for it. But that felt kind of personal. You know what I mean? Like when your crystal and your protective pendant just breaks, like, and nobody's touching it, nobody's doing anything. It just, the crystal breaks, especially amber, which signifies protection and being able to transmute negativity into positivity. It's a very healing stone. It's solar plexus and sacral focus. So confidence, creativity, the vitality, the area of vitality where we get our energy from. So just reflecting on the energy of the tiger, right? And how it signifies frequencies that we can't see, but that we can feel. We can't see and we can't hear, but we can feel. It just felt a little bit like a spiritual attack a little bit. So keep that in mind. I also was picking up on Demi Lovato's Stone Cold because of that experience where she talks about, I was your amber, but now she's your shade of gold. And so you guys can listen to that song as well. There's this energy of loss. And I don't know if it's a relationship or a connection, a friendship, a job, whatever this is. It could even be a connection to yourself. If you're somebody who suffers from physical illness, I know that's something that we can really feel a disassociation from the people we used to be, especially when we're not sure where it is that we're heading, or if we're not able to cope with the changes to the best of our hopes. You know what I mean? I literally shed tears over bread last night, okay? Because gluten-free lifestyle gets hard sometimes. And I miss bread so much, you know? So there's something there, you know, for us, like where we're having trouble dealing with certain changes and circumstances and on our healing journey. And even though maybe we have our good days where we're able to see why this could be happening for our betterment, but there's also those days where we just really feel like this burden is too heavy for us. It's the cross that we cannot bear, you know? So can I get some cards here? Thank you. Okay, so we got the Queen of Scrolls came out, the Queen of Swords. I mean, she's very wise. She's very smart. She's a writer. She's a crafter. It looks like it says the weaver. So she's weaving together something to create a bigger piece of art, right? And it happens to be a butterfly, which is a symbol of transformation. To me, it's a symbol of fertility, and it's also a symbol of just being able to embrace our transformations for the royalty and prestige that it's able to bring us. We also have the Four of Scrolls came out with it, and this fairy is sleeping in reverse. And so it could be talking about some kind of disrest or inability to rest. I've also been picking up on a lot of messages about taking extra precautions for protecting yourself in your sleep state. This cat here too. I know like the orange cats have that reputation of being the most problematic kitties. Is it true? If you have an orange cat, let me know. I know I have a tabby and they are very sassy. And so she holds up to her reputation. And so this could be something to do with your reputation too. Especially with that color signifying orange, right? Orange butterflies, orange cats, orange amber, orange solar plexus energy, orange sacral energy. Okay, what is this? The Four of Scrolls being in reverse is also a signifier of war, right? To me, it's the Four of Swords. When it's in reverse, it's always a representation of battles being fought in the background, but us taking that time to rest, knowing that it's going to be there waiting for us tomorrow. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's get one more card out here. I'd like to get more for the Aquarius Pisces collective. Thank you. Yes, baby? Okay. So sorry about that. I was laughing because the card that came out was Divine Child right as my daughter was walking in. But this is the card of the Hierophant. And so with the sign of the teacher here, the Four of Scrolls, Spiritual Warfare, the Weaver, Queen of Scrolls, I'm also being shown music that's signifying that you're a spiritual warrior. You're not meant to kind of experience the same kind of battles as the normal, as most people, because you're here to be able to teach the next generation with the Divine Child here. Sometimes it's with written word and spoken words, right? And other times it's just with our actions, because we have the mime here with the Page of Spirals also showed up, and there's his companion, the Ram, again showing up. So I feel like there's a link here about listening to your faith, listening to your intuition, listening to, you know, that divine inner voice. I'm picking up on a lot of spiritual energy, air energy with the butterfly. And so you're going through a period of transformation, and it's going to require you to have tremendous faith to be able to see your way through. Okay, so I want to get some clarifying energy on the Weaver here, Queen of Scrolls. What can you clarify for us, please, with the Weaver card? Spirit saying not that deck. This one? Can I get some clarifying energy, please, on the Weaver card, the Queen of Scrolls? What is it that you'd like to clarify with the Weaver card? Thank you. Oh, we have beauty here. So there's beauty in your knowledge. There's beauty in your mind. There's beauty in your expression. Before anyone else can see your beauty, you have to see it first. You have to believe in yourself. You have to be able to believe in your craft, in your art, in your ability to express yourself, exist without accepting the limitations of others to be imposed on you. Don't allow them to diminish your reputation with their own opinion and judgments and castings of your art. You know, with this beauty card too, I've been experiencing this energy in the collective, and I even saw it with an interaction that a conversation that my daughter had with me recently, where I really enjoy makeup. I love makeup, but I've been not feeling well. So for the last like 3 to 4 weeks, I have not put makeup on. And I'm feeling like this longing, like this piece of my creativity that's not being expressed. And so I said something about, I can't believe it's been so many weeks. Like, I can't wait to start putting my makeup on. And my daughter was like, you don't need it. And it was like, and she says that to me all the time because she's my biggest fan. She's always like, oh, Mom, I think you're so beautiful. I love your expression. I love this. I love that. And I appreciate her for that. But I saw in a reflection of, you know, my experience for a brief moment that I was portraying this identity to my daughter where she felt like I had to constantly cover up my face or I had to hide it through makeup, right? And there is some truth to that, being that I have a butterfly rash on my face. It's known as a malar rash, and it's a signifier of chronic health issues. And so I did learn over the years to cover it up with makeup because I didn't want anybody to notice it, because it was enough that people would comment on it a lot. It gave me an insecurity. And so I think that she was trying to build up my self-esteem, and that you're beautiful exactly as you are. You don't have to put that stuff on to cover it up. But what I told her was, I know, but it's an expression of my art. Like, that's how I express my creativity. It's like an expression of art. And as an artist herself, she was like, oh, I completely get that. I think you should continue doing it then. And it was that conversation that kind of opened up our eyes, both of us, to be able to see the alternate perspective, where one person might feel like you're constantly just like hiding out of a place of insecurity. And although that may be the seed that planted the interest and that grew that hobby into what it is now, but that doesn't have to be the truth in its entirety. Rather than covering up, it's a way of expressing yourself to stand out, being that you can be both naturally beautiful and supernaturally beautiful simultaneously, and embrace both realities on separate days. But understanding that not everybody is going to perceive that, because most people don't feel brave enough to have a conversation with you about it. Rather, they'll look at you from a distance, make those judgments and opinions, and continue to stay trapped in their limitations and their repeated cycles of not being able to see the duality or the other side of the lesson, right? So before anyone else can see your beauty, you have to see it first. And a lot of that has to do with, are you accidentally internalizing that as, like, I heard somebody say one time most recently that if you look into the mirror, that you'll become self-absorbed. You'll become overly focused on the way that you look. And, you know, that may be true for them. And it's true in the sense that, look, over here on the deck, we have the Six of Mirrors. And it's true in the sense that if you put makeup on, you may need to look in the mirror from time to time to make sure you don't have like any embarrassing missing patches, or like your makeup's not running down your face type of thing. And I notice, like, when I am wearing makeup and I am dressed up, I do have to check the mirror more often. And I also notice when people around me are kind of silently judging me from afar, because just to be real and to keep it 100%, like, there are a lot of people, like even people I know personally, soulmates of mine, that struggle with looking into the mirror. And it doesn't have anything to do with me. It has everything to do with self-image. It has everything to do with their self-esteem and how they feel about their own appearance and their own, you know, shadow work related to the situation. But I'm there to offer that other side, to be able to show that there is this other existence that you can embody without it being a bad thing. Self-love is not a bad thing. And if anybody is trying to cast or project that it is onto you, I mean, that that has a lot to do with their truth. It doesn't have to be your truth. And if you're able to kind of buckle down and be like, you know what, I do this for me. I do this so that I can feel pretty. I do this because I enjoy dressing up and giving that to my inner child, right? Because we have the divine child here as well. So that is my inner child work, to be able to give into that desire, to be able to play dress up, to paint. Look at this. She's got the palette. I actually gave my daughter one of my makeup palettes that I love, but I don't get to use often enough. And I was like, I really, I believe that items carry an energy, and I don't want those items to feel cast off. I'm like picking up on Island and Misfit toys right now. So when certain items that I have don't get the love and appreciation that I feel they deserve, I try to like allow others to enjoy it, right? So I gave this palette to my daughter, and she had a lot of fun doing her own makeup and, playing dress up, because it's the Halloween season. And how do we learn unless we practice, right? We have to start somewhere. And if you do make a mistake, either it was meant to happen, so to add to the value of the art, the authenticity of the art, the expression, or you're meant to build on that and to learn, because the Hierophant does talk about learning and being able to take knowledge away, even from experiences, right? Like every time you paint, if you make a mistake, you're going to do your best to overcome that next time. And that's how we build into mastery. And I just think that if you take, for example, my shortcoming with my butterfly rash on my face and the bullying that I experienced as a result, and how that pushed me to be able to kind of cover up my face in a way that over the years I just built on that craft because I enjoyed doing it, and I was able to find out. And you know what, another thing that I found out too is that makeup in real life and makeup on camera are two completely different things. And so I had to level up my skill again, and I'm still learning. Like sometimes I'll use a product and it'll reflect off of the camera a certain way and it looks terrible. But in real person, my makeup looked flawless. I can assure you I would not have gone on camera if it didn't. I'm just vain like that, right? And so but it's not a bad thing, and I can embrace that, and I can call myself vain, and I can point fun at myself because I've already been able to do the shadow work centered around that. I kind of looked at, what is mine? What is not mine? What am I being toxically empathetic towards, right? Like, because toxic empathy is something that we inherit and that we learn from a very young age. We're brought up to be respectful, be submissive, and to not shine too brightly if it's making somebody else feel a certain type of way, right? And as long as we're not doing it from a place of bullying and we're not trying to break them down, but rather build them up and, show through example, because again, with this meme and the tiger symbolism that's been following me all day, the ram horn, right? It's a reference of the sound frequencies and being able to show through expression, through example, how it is we're able to overcome certain obstacles and transmute it into something beneficial, something beautiful, right? Something that other people may look at and feel some type of way about how far you've come, but it's really not a reflection of your worth, your value, or an indication that you should quit. On the contrary, it's actually a reflective energy of you being there to plant the seed for somebody else to remember along their journey, and hopefully it'll grow, right? Hopefully it'll grow into something that they can use. All right, so very cool. Sorry, I just kind of went off on a tangent. That's not the format that I had intended for us, but let's just keep going. So we got the Four of Scrolls here, and I'm going to pull from this Dream Oracle because sleeping energy, right? Resting energy, Four of Scrolls. So it is the Four of Swords in this tarot. So what can you clarify, please, for the Four of Scrolls for the Aquafish Collective? Thank you. Ooh. Okay, so we got Eve. Hello. Okay, so I deleted a message for this channel recently, and it had the Eve energy in it. And I decided not to share it because honestly, I don't really know why. It had a lot to do with me feeling some type of way about my art and feeling some type of way about how it's going to be perceived, and, the knowledge that I was able to gain. So this card says, balance urges or impulses, you being persuaded, and careful who you trust. So I really feel like sometimes the enemy comes to us. If you believe that angels can manifest around us in people, places, and signs, fallen angels can manifest just the same. And sometimes they're placed in our path to be able to tempt us, to be able to detour us. And this is the meaning of spiritual warfare. This is what, especially if you're here, to be able to share knowledge, to be able to express, some of these hidden secrets and forbidden knowledge that not everybody is able to experience in the same way. So a vision that I had recently was right after Eve had taken a bite of the apple, and it was like lightning struck, and all I could see was the outline of this tree and, a bright light. Like it was almost like car lights were shining behind the tree, but it was all darkness around it. So the tree was illuminated, and it was like it went from daytime to nighttime in an instant as soon as she ate this apple. And what it reminded me of was when I got sick and I was instantly allergic to everything overnight. I was allergic to dish soap. I was allergic to laundry soap. I was allergic to scented candles. I was allergic to people's shampoo. I can't go anywhere in public without having neurological symptoms because I'm reacting to the fragrances that are all around us, right? And it was like this oversensitivity. It even applies to my food, because if you realize how many chemicals and additives we have in our food, you can start to kind of understand when you have chronic illness, how that can really impact and affect your ability to heal. And that could be another reason why this Four of Scrolls is showing up here as it is, your inability to heal from a certain situation. But I'm able to see through that suffering and through that worldly transition, I was able to obtain knowledge that I didn't know before. Suddenly I realized how naked I was in this world where everything is honestly a serpent. How poisonous as a mother. I don't know if you guys can, maybe you're a parent yourself. I don't know if you can comprehend. It's one thing to be surrounded by snake and poison and plastic fruit and all of these things, for yourself, but it's another thing to have your children standing there in the same poisonous world and to realize, what are we eating? What are these things that we're putting into our body? What is this world, this propaganda that I'm constantly seeing where it's telling me one thing, but it's actually another? And you have to really know, you have to really be able to trust your judgment, your discernment, your experience, your reality, right? Because there's certain times where you're going to see reality a little bit differently, and you're going to be tempted to, hide and to go back to, this place of fitting in, blending in, not standing out. Okay, so the other two cards that had come out, we have bandage here, and we also have praying, and she has the veil over her head. And so that's also showing up in the Demi Lovato, I keep wanting to say music video. And so there could be something about crowning your veil as well. Okay, can you give me additional information on the bandage card? Says temporary solution, trying to fix a problem, and romantic issues. And so this could be definitely a romantic issue. This could be spiritual warfare directed at your connection, especially if you have a divine counterpart, somebody that God gifted to you, or that you guys are meant to accomplish some kind of great significant journey here together. You're supposed to impact healing with the Queen and King of Wands. I bet you guys are spiritual people with the Hierophant too. Dang, you guys probably have some kind of truce to spread, and that would explain why certain things are manifesting to separate you from your connection. Because look, under that we have the Nun, separated from a lover. I need to sacrifice something, a much needed cleanse. So we might be needing to cleanse our space and our energy. Yeah, look at, we have gas mask, and then underneath that we have soldier. Dang. And then we have Scorpio, so maybe Scorpion, so maybe that's a significant energy there. I don't like this energy that's around you guys, to be honest. You guys have a couple different goggles here, and then under that was this guy. It was like robbed. And look at how they're like, shh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like, oh, look at underneath that it says darkness. I don't know, guys. I don't know. We got piano under that. It says control over your emotions, feeling cut off, inability to see ahead, lost opportunity, someone taking what's yours, robbed of your power and happiness. This energy wants your power. This energy wants your solar plexus. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, let's see what this is about. Let's get more information on this. I wasn't going to do it in this format, but hey, when Spirit speaks, we listen, right? So what is it that you want us to know about this darkness and this? I'm guessing this has to do with the burden that you guys, the cross that you're bearing. What is this darkness? We got strategy and love. So it's strategic and it's directly against your romantic connection. It could be that for some of you, this is the enemy manifesting in your connection. This is your partner. It's a karmic partner that you're asked to move away from with the Six of Mirrors. Soulmates come in all shapes and sizes. And it could be that it was, you know, granted to you at a certain time and place, but sometimes we outgrow these connections and it's time for us to let them go. It's that type of thing. It says decide what you want and believe you deserve it and visualize having it. And also the dream catcher is here. So again, I'm just feeling like really protect your sleep state and whatever that means to you. Because I feel like, especially if you're very self-aware and you're the Queen of Swords type energy, Queen of Wands type energy, King of Wands, you're somebody that has really grown to know what kind of strategy and, you know, how creative the enemy really is. And sometimes it's limited in their tricks. And so they're going to come through your sleep state. Let your imagination run wild, get creative and think outside the box. Also, going back to that reputation thing, I'm feeling like with this creativity card, some people might be trying to cast judgments or even diagnose you mentally here with the crown, the brain. We got the moon and like multiple faces here. So don't internalize that. The most creative people are seen as eccentric or a little bit quirky or weird, but that's where the creativity comes from. That's where the gift comes from. And if you internalize that rejection, you'll never be able to reach the heights of the gift that God gave you. Okay. Divine child, the Hierophant. You're God's child. God created you to have this kind of quirkiness. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. I'm picking up on that again. Isn't that? Was it your guys' collective? Yeah, we got rebirth here. The death of yesterday is a birth of a new life. Embrace the change. And I think I looked up what the meaning of Yankee Doodle was, and I think it talks about... Was it talking about classes? I'm going to look it up again. Hold on. So I looked it up and it says that to put a feather in your hat is to be proud of your achievements, to have something that you're proud of showing off. And the song Yankee Doodle, when it says stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni, it says it's not meant to be a compliment, but rather a joke, because they thought that Yankee Doodle was a simpleton who thought that putting a feather in his hat would make him macaroni or fashionable. So macaroni meant fashionable and high class. Interesting. So in reality, he was just kind of a country bumpkin. They said he was kind of like, he lacked class. They thought he lacked intelligence. So he thought that he should be proud of his art, but people were like laughing at him, thinking that he was an idiot for sharing it, which is super rude. They're still watching though. No. But with this rebirth card, it says the death of yesterday is the birth of a new life. Embrace the change. And with the snake and the temptation of like, if you do have something to offer and it is something that is going to be of value, I really think that the enemy is going to try to rob you of that. If you have this precious jewel, the enemy is going to try to silence you. And if that means convincing you that you're unworthy of shining, convincing you that you don't have something of value, better for them, right? All the better for them. All the better to devour you with, my dear. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if there's anything here with the Page of Spirals since he's here. What is it you'd like us to know about the meme or the mime? the mime. Did I call him the meme the whole time? Okay, we got destiny here. It says, whatever you're looking for is looking for you too. It was destined to happen. And so our conversations, the experiences we have, the lessons we learn, they're not random. They're by design, and they're meant to teach not only us, but the people that are watching us. And sometimes when you don't understand why somebody's treating you poorly, just know that it could be as simple as a reflective energy of you learning never to treat people that way. Sometimes some of the harshest lessons are meant to keep us humble, compassionate, and empathetic creatures. Just be mindful of not falling into that toxic empathy where we are dimming our shine because we have glitter here. It's not what you think. Superficially attractive, and appearances can deceive. It's not a bad thing to have love for yourself. It's not a bad thing to put effort into your appearance when you feel like putting effort into your appearance, as long as it's for you and not to please somebody else. I had a conversation with someone one time and my hair was like dyed green, and they were complimenting my hair. And at first, I always think people are as kind as I want to be, and so I'm like, oh, thank you. I was like, it's so fun. I wish I had blonde hair like you. I could do so many fun colors. Like, you should do the tips or something. And she was like, oh no, my husband doesn't like that at all. And I was just thinking okay, probably because she probably believes that because he said something negative or bad about somebody else when they were out there shining in their authenticity. And for all we know, maybe he would still love it on her, because should you be with a partner that says anything but, did you do something different to your appearance? I like it, because honestly, why do we want to be with somebody that tries to limit or change how it is that we look, not only at ourselves, but how it is that we express ourselves to the world? And that's why I can't understand people that are afraid to look in the mirror, or want me to feel afraid to look in the mirror, or want me to feel some kind of way because I like putting glitter on my eyes. Honestly, sparkle every day, regardless of if people have a problem about it. Okay, soldier, because people are going to have a problem with what you got going on no matter what. With this gas mask, people are so clouded in their own toxicity, sometimes they are not able to see you clearly. And that's just the reality of this realm, okay? It says Scorpion, destructive feelings, risky behavior, dark energy, and magic. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, you guys. So let's get some closing advice for you. Closing advice for the Aquafish Collective, please. You have any advice for the Aquafish Collective? Do you have any advice for the Aquafish Collective, please? I'm getting careful who you can trust is really showing out here. We got cultural values. I think that there could be, sometimes different cultures have different ways of looking at things, and we can internalize that as rejection too sometimes. And so I think being mindful that not everybody sees the world the same way. We have puppet master, controlling, manipulation, and someone is influencing a situation. Don't like it. Okay, so be mindful that you're not accidentally becoming an inadvertent tool of the enemy by allowing division, hate, discrimination come through, because that's something that I've been picking up on in the collective as well, is when somebody comes to you for help, because let's say you're a spiritual influencer, for example, with the Hierophant and the wand energy. Let's say somebody comes to you because they're under some kind of enemy attack, some kind of spiritual warfare, and you perceive it as a direct threat or attack on yourself, right? So instead of being able to use that as an opportunity to educate the person that came to you for help, you attack that person and use your platform to embarrass, humiliate, and drive that person away from the spiritual community that they once believed in, right? So it doesn't have to be an online platform. It can be a church. It can be whatever institution, that person once believed in. It could be the tarot community, right? I've had that happen to me too, where I lost trust in certain, being able to trust certain messages because they were being manipulated and, used against me, right? And so rather than getting angry and fighting back like a fire with fire type of situation, Spirit is asking for us to be wiser than the enemy, to recognize that it's a direct fight against love. I'm hearing that song by Fun, where he's talking about going to war with love, I think. And so don't be deceived. Pray on it. Pray on every interaction. Make sure that you're not internalizing somebody else's shadow work, because that's only going to hold you back and delay you. We also have I'm listening and on the menu. It says a chance to speak. Before you act, listen. Yes. Okay. So prayer showed up. Make sure you pray and then you listen. And then it says careful with your words. And then on the menu, single, ready to mingle, emotionally available, and looking for new love. Interesting. I feel like you're on the menu. What is this? I'm listening. Please clarify this. Okay, so we got balancing act and love is here. True love, love is coming, preparing for union, and then juggling, adapting to changes, and finding or maintaining balance. And so this is talking about choosing your battles and understanding that not everybody is going to be able to perceive things the same way. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. Sometimes it's going to take time for certain things to sink in and take hold. Anything else we need to know for the Aquafish Collective, please? Okay, so we have staying up at night. Interesting. Losing sleep, overwhelmed, and a deep unhappiness. Ooh, I was also getting, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And so that could be a message to somebody too about prioritizing what it is that makes them happy, regardless of if other people get it. It says whirlwind romance, relationship moving fast, and a love at first sight, fast takeoff. So if you have been feeling like you've been delayed in certain areas of your life, I do think that that's going to change. But there are going to be some people with hard to handle here. There are going to be some people that are going to tell you, hey, slow down. Why are you driving your boat that way? Because it's my destiny. Okay, mind your own boat. All right, so I hope that that's helpful, you guys. I hope that this helps bring you some clarity. We have see-through, clarity, truth, revelation. I hope it brings you some revelation through the darkness, because you guys can't trust all of the energy that's around you right now because it is a little bit clouded. You are being diverted, but the reason that you're being diverted is because there's something significant that you have to offer. Okay, there's the enemy fears the message that you have with the Queen of Swords. They fear the potential that your art has to be able to influence. I'm hearing that song by Kelly Clarkson, Move. Is it Move You? I Want to Move You. And it talks about how the purpose of an artist, the thing that drives them, it's not always expansion. It's not always likes. It's not validation. It's not even money. It's not even love. Okay. What moves them, what drives them is the ability to share their message and to get other people to see just for a moment what it's like to be them, what it's like to exist in their reality, to be able to see the world through their eyes. And that's why they express art the way that they do. And so I hope that this message is helpful to somebody. Don't worry about your reputation, okay? Because there's going to be people that love you regardless. I mean, if people can love the orange cat, if people can love the tabby cat, not the tabby, the tortoiseshell cat, the calico, okay, and their sassiness. I mean, every cat has a reputation, but there's always somebody, it's like the perfect match for them. And I was also watching 101 Dalmatians this morning, and my favorite part of that whole movie is in the very beginning when, is it Pongo? What's his name? He was watching the other dogs out the window, and he was like looking for a match for himself and his owner. And so he was like, oh no, not that one. She's far too fancy. She's far too fancy. And so don't allow anybody to tell you that you're far too fancy, because it's part of your destiny to be able to stand out in that way. And if you were to allow them to stop you, because we have a real stopper here, stand still, time to surrender, no movement in progress. It's going to affect your finances, because we have money matters after that, and you notice like her shadow is there. It says focus on building wealth, money affecting the love life, and a transactional relationship. Okay, and so don't be afraid to look at certain relationships as transactional, and to help, you know, fuel your creativity, fuel your inspiration, fuel your ability to be able to transmute whatever comes your way into something productive to help be able to teach other people at your service. Loose boundaries, trying too hard to please and working hard to make it work. And I picked this card up right now because there's something about sweeping things under the rug, and you might feel like you're staying in your lane by not speaking out on certain injustice, bullying, or, you know, just even if it's just as simple as speaking on like the makeup topic, where it's, again, I just want to remind you guys, it's not a bad thing to love your physical body. It's not a bad thing to cherish that, because if you lose your physical health or something happens where you're not able to see yourself clearly as the divine being, as the beautiful creature that you are, you're not able to pour that love into yourself, you can so easily become an inadvertent tool of the devil, where you can cast that projection onto somebody else who had a divine mission or a destiny to overcome that. And by attaching onto them, pulling them back with the strings that the devil is holding onto you, and then, you know, attaching that into them, then we all become puppets, right? And so let's be mindful of that. Let's not allow that to happen. Let's stop sweeping things under the rug and feeling like, you know, our opinion doesn't matter, or that we need to just blend in, because we have making friends, and it's in reverse. It says only as a friend, building a friendship and keeping it casual. And she's feeding that squirrel nuts. And so if people think you're a little bit nutty, I mean, the squirrels will still love you. No, just kidding. But this is talking about not allowing your art to be molded by your friends or influenced by your friends, because you were born to stand out, right? With the swan here, you were born to be this beautiful swan. Awaken your self-love, and the journey to love will become much brighter. You're going to attract friends as a natural side effect of being able to express yourself freely, because at the end of the day, do we want friends around us that are going to tell us that we're self-absorbed, conceited, or vain because we like to look at ourselves and express our art through our face? Not everyone was blessed with perfect skin. And so sometimes we adapt to the best of our ability, and if that seems nutty or off to somebody else, so be it. You know what I think is most difficult about this message for me? Like, what does any of this have to do with those songs, right? What does any of this have to do with those songs in the very beginning? So let's get some clarity on that, Spirit, because I feel like, what did I get really off topic? Like, what's happening here? What do those songs have to do with any of this? Okay, so we got angel with love here. It says, trust that your love life is being divinely guided and protected. Your angels know exactly how much information you can handle right now. And then that came out with gift. It says, you may be surprised by someone's act of kindness. Be open to small gestures or any proposals that come your way. Embrace the gift. We also have smell the roses, girl. Stop and smell the roses. Don't forget to see the beauty beyond your ambitions and enjoy those little things in your life. We also got get outside here, and she's got more roses on her bike. It says, spending time in nature will help you to take the pressure off, love, and remind you that life is beautiful even in the gloomy days. So I feel like because of those songs, and then we got hot gossip when I split the deck. I feel like because of those songs, you're feeling some type of way about, maybe people are gossiping about your reputation. Maybe people are projecting their shadow work and their limitations onto you. Maybe you've been experiencing spiritual warfare for a really long time, and therefore you've been left out in the cold, abandoned, rejected. And the enemy has really been messing with your mind. The enemy has really been trying to convince you that you're not worthy of love. And it's because you have a huge calling with answer the call. When he calls, answer the call. Don't let pride keep your love broken when your heart wants to fix it. They might be worth a second chance. And I think this is talking about too, like if you have connections in your life, whether it's a friendship or a lover, not every relationship's going to be perfect. You're not going to agree on every little thing. Sometimes there's disagreements, but what's important is, are you both committed to growing together, or are you willing to grow apart? Because sometimes that's what's best for people too. And knowing that it doesn't have to be a burden or a cross that we bear. It's not a grudge that we need to hold on to. If we're feeling like it was put in our journey or put in our path to help strengthen us up, to be able to add to our message, to be able to add to our wisdom so that we can see how the enemy operates, so that we can educate others with the Hierophant card, right? So I just saw the card trust. So really trust that God has your best interest at heart with these lessons. It's part of this. It says maturity, and then it says hidden info under that. And there's that burglar mask again. And then it says play the field. Look at these masks. Don't get so hung up on him. Go play the field. Flirt, 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 and flirt some more. Don't wait for things to happen. Make it happen. And this one says, babe, you don't have all the facts. Something is being kept hidden. Could be their feelings, a third party, their true intentions. Remain cautious, and the maturity. And you know what? Honestly, this looks just like a woman that I saw online. We got let go of anger. I saw this woman, and she was one of those like born again Christians that was hating on the New Age and, you know, some of the teachings that they have, tarot being one of them, right? And she was talking about just how evil it all is. And this woman with a screen name with a zodiac sign in it was agreeing with her in the comments. And this woman attacked her commenter, her supporter, the person that was agreeing with her, because she had the zodiac in her username. And that person had to explain to her, like, no, I was agreeing with you. And then she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's when we let these projections, right? Like, she automatically assumed that that woman was coming for her because she was like, oh, New Age, like she must be the enemy. And it's sometimes we think that certain things are the enemy when it's actually sent by God to be able to help us level up so that we can learn wisdom and gain from their experiences, from their perspective, and from the pain that they endured, the cross that they carried. That's why it's saying, I'm here to remind you. I'm showing up not randomly and not to attack you, but to let you know that there's more to this story. There's more to this perspective, and I'm hoping that you can gain the wisdom without having to suffer, without having to bear the cross that I did, because otherwise then I feel like my blood was spilt in vain. Do you see how, like, the splatter of the red? So that's what I'm feeling here. So if people are coming for you, just really slow down and see, you know, is this one of those situations where opposites are attracting so that I can gain the wisdom without having to eat the forbidden fruit, without having that moment of, you know, lightning striking and then seeing how scary reality can really be at times? Because that's the thing, you know, we got these false cravings here on reverse. I really just feel like you're going to be tempted with certain things. Some things are going to be really scary and seem like reality, but not be. And then there's going to be those other things where, you know, God is gifting you this wisdom, and it comes from a place of suffering and, you know, needing to overcome certain obstacles that are meant to not only help you, but to help others on the way. So I hope I'm making sense there. Here we got Dreamcatcher. I'm telling you guys, there's something about our dreams. All right, before we go, what is it you want us to know about the dreams? Oh gosh. Okay, so we got the sexuality in reverse. It says sexual confusion or repression, and then it says farewell journey in reverse, sadness, loss, and abandonment. So somebody's feeling lost, abandoned, left out in the cold, and it has a lot to do with either past romantic relationships and communication that they endured from past relationships, right? And for others, it was a learning experience where you're meant to learn how to be independent, how to move independently, because like I was sharing on my other channel, there are certain energies that like to stalk certain bloodlines. There are certain Jezebel spirits that like to, for lack of a better word, go after God's prophets, get them off their path, even if it means ending their existence, okay? But it comes from a place of manipulation, We got faceless here. That's interesting. Searching for your own identity. Preying on the ones that don't know who they are. Preying on the ones that care if their reputation is tainted when they are cast certain judgments and so forth. These are the people that become the easiest puppets, the easiest victims, especially if you are somebody of influence and you have a public platform where you're able to reach a lot of people with your voice. The enemy will try to use people with less experience and people that lack spiritual discernment, people that lack identity and certain levels of truth that maybe you as a spiritual teacher have been able to experience. The devil will sometimes use them to hit your ego or to hit your pride in a way that'll trigger you to become a tool of the enemy, a puppet of the enemy, by utilizing your platform against you, against the Holy Spirit, against the Word of God. Okay, so keep that in mind, because I feel like that's a message for somebody. Because I'm picking up on two different situations here. I'm picking up on literal connections and relationships that left you feeling broken and like you had to diminish your shine in some way. And then for others, I'm picking up on you being called to a high mission and being called to speak and not being able to because you're trying to fit in some way. So take it however it applies, but in both senses, in both ways, it is a type of spiritual warfare. There's always, even though there's biological and material factors, there's always that spiritual side to it. It says reassurance. It did say caution, danger, or nervousness. And then the other side says feeling safe and happy in a relationship. And so again, if you have that divine counterpart, you have that divine mission here with somebody else. Why is that? Okay. I hope this is helpful. Begin to understand the truth of the situation, even if it's difficult and painful. Spend time alone to help bring clarity and make peace with them. Okay. So I do hope that this is helpful. I hope it brings clarity, and I will see you guys again soon.